Thank you very much for joining this debate today. I'm actually really excited that this is happening because I've been working in the industry for more than a year now, and I know how hard it is to reach for sustainability. So that's why, and I believe that it's all a matter of collaboration. That's why today we are representing both the e-commerce and the last mile delivery industry. Well, I hope we can actually reach a conclusion where we all work together and achieve sustainability together. Now, before we start, would you like to briefly introduce yourself? Just 20 seconds, just a few words.
Yes, my name is Jakob Kristiansen. I'm the founder of Burd Delivery. We are a same-day delivery company with a tremendous focus on making the world a sustainable and happy place.
My name is Mathilde. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Fresh.Land, and what we are doing in Fresh.Land is that we have a digital platform allowing farmers to sell directly to consumers, and instead of taking many months, as in the conventional food industry, it takes just a few days. And this is really good for the environment as well, because we cut out all the ripening chambers and the cool storage, which are big emitters of greenhouse gases.
And my name is Casper Svensson. I am the founder and CEO of Citylogistik, and we are micro hubs close to the city center and last mile delivery in electric vans, trucks, and bicycles.
Thank you very much. Well, then we can start with the questions. I will start with Mathilde regarding the e-commerce industry. What were the effects of the pandemic on the industry and on your own logistics needs?
So when COVID hit, what we saw was that in our web shop, we can basically monitor the sales per hour, actually per half hour. And we could see every time Mette Frederiksen was going on television, the sales was basically rising. And that was interesting for us to see because our cycle works in a way, so you order before Wednesday and you get delivery the Wednesday the week after. So in this way of stocking up was actually not like stocking up for tomorrow, it was stocking up for next week. And we saw that happening, and that of course elevated our sales. What we also saw were that a lot of farmers started coming to us because those small Danish farmers and entrepreneurs that used to sell to the restaurant business, they suddenly lost all their revenue overnight because when the restaurant business closed down, they had no one to sell to. And they came to us and asked for help. And it was really important for us to help them through the crisis, because if we want these great innovators and entrepreneurs and farmers to be in business on the other side of the corona crisis, we need to make sure that they can survive this kind of crisis that we are in.
Yeah. That makes sense. And how did this affect the delivery processes? How did it affect your operations? Whoever wants to take it first, Casper or Jakob.
Citylogistik, we are mainly completely focused on B2B. So our business, when we had the lockdown, almost stopped because the city closes, the municipality closes, so everybody went home. But afterwards that, everybody found out it was actually cool. There's no traffic, there's no vans, there's no pollution. So after Corona was, after the close down was, now we see extreme focus on trying to do something. So we will not have huge sales in the COVID-19, but afterwards we can see there's a focus on doing something.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Jakob?
Yeah, we are very focused on B2C.
Yeah.
So we deliver to your door.
Yeah.
We do it the same day as you order. So
Thank you.
very much in correlation with Mathilde here. We also saw that people they needed hand sanitizer. Mm-hmm. They needed these face masks. They needed whatever was required, but also their everyday needs. And because they now had difficulty leaving their homes for whatever reasons, then this convenience of having stuff delivered and preferably as fast as possible was we really saw a tremendous increase instantly.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's actually interesting that the e-commerce industry and the last mile delivery industry were two industries that thrived during the pandemic instead of suffering losses or anything like that. And I also wanted to ask Jakob, what do end customers expect from a last mile delivery industry? Are they willing to prioritize sustainability instead of price or speed of delivery?
So what do they expect? In my opinion, they expect it to arrive. I remember I spoke to one of our customers, and he said as soon as they see something on their website, that's when they want it. So the speed is of the essence. And then they really prefer to have their parcels delivered when they're at home. So ideally at nighttime. And then I think you have to realize that you're customer centric instead of only being cost centric. So you have to adapt to whatever it is that the customer is saying. You have to give them the tools for them to control their order to an extreme, almost to an extreme in comparison to what it was just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So now all the way up until I am in front of your door, you can actually tell me to don't knock my door, leave my package or put it over here or whatever.
Yeah.
Whether or not they want to pay for sustainability in comparison to the speed, I think that there's FDIH, the Danish e-commerce union. Yeah. They make some really good analysis, and one of the things that they have shown is that a lot of us want to do something about it, but when we sit with ourselves and our laptop and we're actually making the purchase, then it's only a small percentage which are actually doing something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Casper? Do you feel like the customers are willing to pay for sustainability? Even it's B2B,
yes,
of course.
Yes, but you have to give them something else. You know, not many of us will pay if you take sustainability. It will cost you 20% extra. But I think doing last mile is about creating value that pays something for you. So it's not about delivering a package, it's delivering something else. And that is the big question in last mile. What is the value? Because the value is different. So having success doing last mile is about having success creating value. And this value could be different from all of us. And if you know your goal and what you're going to achieve and your customer, you will be very good of creating value. And this is what we try to do. Create value to pay for the extra, and the willingness to pay extra will come, but it's not there yet, as I see it. If you just say sustainability, it's not there yet, but it will come.
I see. And is it the same factor that's almost the most important? Is it the speed and the experience to control the entire process or to follow the entire process? Is that the most important, or the pricing still?
We do subscription. So when you have a fee by us, you know you'll have it at 8. So for us, following the road is not an issue. So that's why I say it's different. So following the parcel on the way to your store is not an option for us, because you know you'll have them at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But there could be other factors.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you. And I just wanted to ask Mathilde, I know that you've been working to reduce the carbon footprint as much as possible, and you've achieved quite a nice, good milestone. But I was wondering if you decided to change everything overnight, decided to reduce everything at all, what would be the biggest challenge when looking for a green delivery partner?
Yeah, so the greatest challenge. So I think if you look at, from my perspective, I want customers that are returning to my shop. And if the customers are not getting the products, they will not return to the shop. So it doesn't matter how high quality a product you have. If you cannot get it the last mile out to the consumer, they will just not buy from you again. And I think actually there's some studies showing that 50% of people that have a bad delivery experience will not order again. So it's quite an important metric. And of course, that's my first priority. I need to keep my business running. Now, when I look at what are the green solutions out there, we've been using a solution called Change, which is a bike company that runs on electric bikes. And I think what they're doing is really interesting, because they are both running on electric bikes, which means that they are not polluting, they are not causing worse air quality in the cities and so on, but they're also reducing the congestion in the streets, because they're not taking the same space as a full truck. And I think it's very interesting to see how all of you are innovating and finding new ways of bringing the products last mile. And I think it is both about sustainability. That's very important to us because there is a lot of emission happening on the last mile. But I also think it's about finding creative solutions so that as society will move more online, we need to have more, you can say, for the life in the cities, more sustainable solutions to bring out the products. Because we cannot have an increase of 10 times the online sale if we also need 10 times the amount of trucks on the streets. And I think my two co-participants here have solutions that can solve that.
Yes, of course, of course. Bicycles are some of the most popular delivery means of transportation in this industry. And I think they have a really nice concept. I've seen the bikes on the streets as well. They look really nice, quite a large cargo space and so on.
Yes.
And now I wanted to ask Casper and Jakob. Yeah, we have companies and startups all around the world. They're innovating. They're coming up with autonomous robots, delivery robots, autonomous vehicles in general, different kinds of bicycles, delivery drones. Which one of these solutions do you think it's actually feasible, actually realistic in the future?
I think it's not about the vehicle. It's not about, there's not one vehicle and one drone that will fit. It's about, in my opinion, it's changing the system, because if you keep on pushing all kinds of different vehicles in the cities, you will have congestions.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you need to change the system. You need to change the way we did it before, because the world's not going to be saved by bicycles or drones or electric trucks. The world is going to change if we change the way of doing it. And this is what I see the way is the drone will be good for something, the bicycle will be good for something, the electric truck will be good for something, and the diesel truck will also be here many years from now, because there will be cases where it's not possible for drones or bicycles. Yeah. So I think it's about finding the right vehicle to the right parcel, instead of finding a solution for a bicycle for the whole solution. You need to change.
Yeah, it makes sense. What do you think, Jakob?
I appreciate the thought that Casper he sort of indicates that have a look at the system and how we can change that. If I am to give you an indication of a technology that we believe will probably show its face the quickest out of some of these solutions that you give. Legislation will say that drones is probably not likely within the next couple of years, but I think some of these parcel lockers that you see around, I think that within a fairly short time span, you start seeing them go, being able to drive around. How they drive around, whether it's autonomous or being dragged after an electric car, I have no idea. But then curbside deliveries at a fraction of the price that you see today is one of the tools. I agree a lot that there will be a lot of different, because there won't be one silver bullet to fix this. Yeah. You will have a mix, and you need a mix, just like Casper he elaborated on.
Yeah, of course. Do you see, for example, delivery robots delivering around Copenhagen, let's say in 5 years? I know they have them in the States, and somewhere in UK they're delivering around the campuses only, not in the city. Yeah. I'm just curious, what do you think? Will we see this in Copenhagen anytime soon?
I think one of the founders of one of the projects is it's a guy called Janus who started a small company called Skype. He's a Danish guy, and we're tremendously proud of him. I follow his robot project quite closely, because I think it's extremely interesting. I don't see how he gets it to work because of vandalism, because of many things. Yeah. But it looks like it works. I just don't understand it. I think I need to see it before I can say whether or not you will have these mini R2D2 like robots going around with a silver plate and serving you whatever you need.
That's actually really interesting. I would like to see that in Copenhagen. And that's the last question for everyone. Who should be the one supporting the costs for achieving sustainability in this field? Now you get to point fingers at each other.
So maybe I'll start. I think there are some fixed costs in terms of developing the infrastructure, whether that is a hub structure or whether that is kind of the electric vehicle infrastructure. And I think that should be carried by the society. or at least heavily supported by the society and the government. Now, I'm not sure that it has to be more expensive to deliver something more sustainable. I think that is a different discussion. I don't think delivering more value means that it has to be more expensive. I think there's a limit to how much the customers want to pay for the delivery, because they are actually paying for the product, and the delivery is an add-on that they kind of have to swallow. So that's my point. Yeah.
That makes total sense. What do you think, Jakob? Or Casper?
No, changing the world is about changing ourselves. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. So I mean, the customer needs to pay in somehow. But it's right that to do so, we need to build an infrastructure. We need to build an infrastructure for the future by delivering last mile.
Yeah.
In our experience, it's from where we stand, it's us who need to carry the bill. We have tried to test this, and if we up the price, we don't get any parcels. So I think it's our task, and because we're such a fairly young company, we have the luxury to really sit down and take out the big blueprint and make sure that the business model, the systems that we built, are taking this into consideration. That if we don't carry the tab, then customers, they will not choose our delivery service.
So you'd say it's more about operational efficiency than actually suffering the cost?
Yes, and I agree a lot that it just in order to be sustainable, I don't see that there's a price tag that needs to go up. I think you can organize. I think you can tech your way out of a lot of these things.
Yeah. That's a really nice and positive view. We hope we can all do that.
Yeah.
Actually, Mathilde, you touched upon support, governmental support, and I was just curious. Do you think sustainability can be achieved without a little push from legislation or from local authorities and government?
I think so, because what we are seeing today is that the mindset, and that's not only in Denmark, it is actually globally, the mindset is changing, and customers are demanding sustainability as being part of the package. And when we started up for 5 years ago, sustainability was one of our pillars, but it was not the one that were the selling point. And it's interesting to see how over the years, and in particular the last 1.5 years, this is like a qualifier. People don't want to buy from companies that are not sustainable. So I don't think it is so much, I think it's about times are changing, and I don't think change comes from up here. I think that can of course be an enabler, but it has to come from the behavior of each of us. We have to make a conscious decision every day about the choices we make, and if everyone does that, then we will be able to push change in the right direction.
Yes, I share the view completely. What do you think, Jakob and Casper? Do you have a take on this, about the legislation?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Start with yourself when you want to change, and the municipalities, the governments, they need to buy last mile electric or sustainable if they want to change. So if you start with them, people will follow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love the idea that we can all make a change, and I think the three of us are trying our very best.
Yeah.
But I do think that we, as a species, we need to be told off, or at least we need to be told that if you go there, then this will be the impact. So I think we need a mix of the government, and then that we can moonshoot and think of a better place. And then I think those two things are needed. I don't think one will solve it, and I don't think the other one is the solution.
Yeah, that makes total sense, of course. Well, let's see. Let's hope we will see that from the government sometime soon. Maybe some funds as well. That was all from my side. If you have anything to add, we'll gladly hear you out. Otherwise, we have two small companies that actually offered to provide some gifts, some really nice flowers and some pastry. Which is very unique in Denmark. They're called eclairs. And they're also two companies focusing on sustainability, especially when delivering and actually building creating the bouquets.
Oh, wow.
As you can see, no plastic. And
they were brought in by electric or bicycle?
They were
Yes.
brought by me with an electric car.
They were just picked out here. Very nice.
But well pointed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for having
I
us.
think we should join the other stage for Q&As.
Yeah.
Yeah.